Ms. Lee, congratulations. Do you think the United States Constitution should be interpreted according to how people understood it at the time it was adopted?
Thank you for the question, Senator. With regard to the interpretation of the Constitution, should I be confirmed as a circuit judge, I'll be bound by Supreme Court and Second Circuit precedent.
I know that, and I'm not going to ask either of you. I know you've been coached, the Trump White House coach, the Republicans when they were nominated, always carefully say you're going to follow Supreme Court precedent. I stipulate. I'm asking your opinion, your judicial philosophy, not how you're going to rule on the case.
Welcome back. Today, I'm breaking down the Senate Judiciary Committee showdown. Senator John Kennedy versus Biden's nominee, Eunice Lee. If you like political fireworks, buckle up. So here's what happened. Kennedy kicks off with the simplest, yet most revealing question you can ask a judge. Should the U.S. Constitution be read as the people understood it when it was adopted? Sounds basic, right? But Eunice Lee dodges. She pivots to Supreme Court precedent, not her own view, not a hint of her philosophy. Kennedy's not having it. He pushes, hard. He wants to know her approach, originalism or a living constitution.
Do you think the United States Constitution should be interpreted according to how people understood it at the time it was adopted?
Thank you, Senator. I don't have a personal judicial interpretation philosophy apart from what
You're going to be on the United States Court of Appeals if you're confirmed, and you don't have a judicial philosophy about how the United States Constitution should be interpreted?
Well, Senator, in terms of how it would be interpreted, I'm going to be bound by how others have said the circuits, the judges interpret it. And so...
Yeah, but we don't decide cases using algorithms and just take all the United States Supreme Court cases and put them in, and they haven't addressed every issue. Very few cases get to the United States Supreme Court. Let me ask it again. Do you think the United States Constitution should be interpreted according to the way that people understood it at the time it was adopted? And if you don't, that's cool. Some don't. Many don't. How do you think it should be interpreted? It's a very simple question for a Court of Appeal nominee.
Thank you, Senator. I think the question actually is a little more complicated. The Supreme Court has...
No, it's not. It's about as basic as you can get. It's con law 101.
And here's the thing, Kennedy's frustration is real. He even says, it's con law 101. He's not wrong. Every law student has to wrestle with this. If you're up for a seat on the Court of Appeals, you should have an answer. Finally, Lee gives a half step.
Examples
let me try it again. The problem may be mine. The United States Constitution. Do you think it should be interpreted according to the way that people understood it at the time it was adopted, or another way?
I think there are many circumstances where it should be interpreted according to what people thought at the time it was adopted.
When?
Well, for instance, in the case of Heller, the Supreme Court applied original meaning to determine the scope of the Second Amendment right. And so,
when shouldn't we apply original meaning?
I think when there are Supreme Court precedents that apply something, have applied something
on an original question.
I'm sorry.
Under what circumstances do we not interpret the Constitution according to the way that people understood it at the time it was adopted?
There are circumstances where the Supreme Court has not interpreted the Constitution explicitly in that fashion. And so I would always...
Give me an example. What example are you thinking about?
Well, there are times in the context of judging what is cruel and unusual punishment under the Eighth Amendment, where the Supreme Court has to...
That's a good example.
Kennedy calls her out. How do you decide which method to use? Still, no straight answer. In the end, Kennedy lays it down. If I don't know your approach, I can't vote for you. He's demanding clarity.
I think that when there is not, I think the circumstances where there's not going to be either controlling or at the least instructive precedent from the Supreme Court or from the Second Circuit, I think is fairly rare. And so I can't say in the abstract, well, if this is the philosophy that I would apply, because again, I'd be driven by what the precedent says. And so I can't give you a specific judicial philosophy.
Okay. I'm way over. Listen, I'm going to send you both a letter. I can't vote for you if I don't know, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Ms. Ross. I can't vote for you if I don't know what approach you're going to use to interpret the United States Constitution. And I don't believe for a second you both haven't thought about it. You couldn't have gotten through law school without thinking about it. So I need to know what you think about it. Okay?
And honestly, that's what judicial accountability is all about. So was Kennedy right to press her, or was Lee just being careful? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want more sharp analysis and real talk from Washington, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.